Since the days of Ben Roethlisberger being under center ended, the Pittsburgh Steelers have been on the hunt for an above-average offense. To be frank, they've been on the hunt for even an average one in the grand scheme. Acquiring four-time NFL MVP Aaron Rodgers this offseason is the franchise's attempt to inject some life into that side of the football. Coming off consecutive 10-7 seasons with third and second place finishes in the division, Pittsburgh's eyes are set on an AFC North crown. Many would argue that the offense will determine whether a new ceiling can be reached. Mo Moton of Bleacher Report is among that group. In a July 5th article, Moton cited the Steelers' offense, gelling in win-now mode, as the division's potential X-factor for 2025-26. How quickly everyone gets up to speed and on the same page is critical, says Moton. Thus far, Pittsburgh hasn't brought in any notable veterans who played with Rodgers in Green Bay, unlike the New York Jets did after acquiring him, Moton wrote. The 21-year veteran must build a rapport with new faces as the Steelers try to give him an effective ground attack. Rodgers told the Pat McAfee Show he's going to work with several Steelers receivers in Malibu, California. His chemistry with that unit could be the difference between a push for the AFC North title and a team that hovers around .500 for another wild-card berth. This stop for Rodgers feels a bit different than his most recent one. The New York Jets made transactions to appease him, also fine-tuning their scheme to cater to his needs. While it'd be foolish for Steelers offensive coordinator Arthur Smith to not play to Rodgers' strengths, he'll also stay true to who he is. It's a trickle-down effect that stems from head coach Mike Tomlin's no-nonsense approach. To this point, Pittsburgh has largely done things on its own timeline, signing Rodgers notwithstanding. Acquisitions such as wideout DK Metcalf are moves for now and the post-Rodgers team. At the same time, though, the Steelers are trying to capitalize immediately. Trading for tight end Jonnu Smith, who's excited to be in town, and cornerback Jalen Ramsey proves that. Two non-quarterback positions that could determine ceiling of Pittsburgh offense. Everyone knows the Steelers need to see improvement on offense. The 2024-25 campaign was their best since 2020, yet they ranked 16th in scoring and 23rd in yards. Per RBSDM.com, they were 19th in dropback EPA and 26th in success rate. That won't be good enough to win this year's AFC North. The Baltimore Ravens remain elite, and the Cincinnati Bengals are always lurking with Joe Burrow at quarterback. Two positions could swing things for the Steelers. First and foremost, running back. With Najee Harris moving on, more will be asked of Jaylen Warren in 2025. Rookie Caleb Johnson could be the ceiling raiser if Warren is the floor setter. Secondly, wide receiver remains critical, even with Metcalf being traded for. Behind him, there's a whole lot of uncertainty. Players like Calvin Austin III, Robert Woods, and Roman Wilson aren't locks to be high-level contributors. All it takes is Rodgers developing serious chemistry with one of them to inspire some confidence in the offense, but that's far from a foregone conclusion. Training camp in late July will serve as a good look at how things are progressing. Former Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver Chase Claypool delivered a message and injury update with a long social media post on July 4th. Former Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver Chase Claypool didn't play at all during the 2024 NFL season. In 2023, he was on the field for 12 games but only had 8 catches for 77 yards. However, on July 4th, Claypool made it clear with an Instagram post that he's ready to join a new team and make a significant impact again, as he did early in his NFL career. My first season-ending injury in 18 years came at the worst possible time. I felt like God was playing a joke on me, wrote Claypool. It's been a year since I've posted on Instagram, and almost nobody knows what actually happened to me. Signing with Buffalo was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. I was the strongest, fastest, and most prepared I had ever been. I was playing my best football, working my way up from last 14th string to taking first-team reps by camp. Most of all, I was doing it with a group of guys I truly appreciated. I tore a ligament and a tendon in my second toe and have been rehabbing, working out, and recovering every day for the past year. I am back to being the strongest and fastest I've ever been and couldn't be more excited to step back out on the field and let my actions speak for themselves. Claypool's last tenure with an NFL organization was with the Buffalo Bills last summer. That stint ended in August 2024 when the Bills released Claypool with an injury settlement. The move allowed the receiver to sign with another team, but he remained a free agent throughout the season. WR Chase Claypool pulls curtain behind injury status. Claypool was far from a sure thing to make the Bills' roster last summer, but the receiver's post clearly suggested he was on his way to doing that. If true, then it's likely other NFL teams didn't take a flyer on Claypool during the season last year because of his health, not due to his play or talent. Claypool has experienced a fall from grace of sorts over the last few years. He had a sensational rookie season with the Steelers in 2020, scoring 11 total touchdowns while posting 62 catches for 873 yards. Although his touchdown numbers plummeted, Claypool also had a strong second season with 59 receptions and 860 receiving yards. But at the 2022 NFL deadline, the Steelers shipped Claypool to the Chicago Bears for a second-round pick. Over parts of 2 seasons with the Bears, he had just 18 catches for 191 yards and 1 touchdown in 10 games. The Bears traded the receiver to the Miami Dolphins in a draft pick exchange less than a year after acquiring him. With Miami, Claypool had 4 receptions for 26 yards in 9 games. Claypool ready for NFL return? The NFL experiences comeback stories every season. Claypool will only turn 27 years old on July 7th, and he likely still has the raw skills to make an impact for a team this fall. The question is, will any team allow Claypool the opportunity to prove he's in the best shape of his football career? Not to take away from Claypool's training camp performance last season, but the Bills didn't exactly have a stacked receiver room in 2024. Claypool moving up Buffalo's receiving depth chart for a few practices isn't proof he's ready for NFL stardom again. The receiver must now prove he is ready to play a bigger receiver role after a significant injury too. It's still a long road back for Claypool, but he's clearly itching for another opportunity in the league. There is a media debate about the Pittsburgh Steelers' next move and the rumors attached to it. They made their biggest signing of the offseason with QB Aaron Rodgers coming to town to play his final season, hoping to guide the Steelers to their first playoff win since 2016. Of course, biggest doesn't mean only. Not around here. Not this offseason. After also trading for Seattle Seahawks star receiver DK Metcalf and acquiring cornerback Darius Slay from the Super Bowl-winning Philadelphia Eagles, Pittsburgh this week did it again with the trade for cornerback Jalen Ramsey and tight end Jonnu Smith, late of the Miami Dolphins. So, are the Steelers done? We bet not, and here's why. DK's entrance coincided with the trade of George Pickens to the Dallas Cowboys. So, in a way, the wideout group is back to where it began the offseason on the perimeter. We say that while understanding that Smith has a lot of offensive versatility. So, what about veteran receiver Gabe Davis, who recently visited the facility in hopes of finding a spot in the passing offense? Amid rumors that it might be a match, he left without a deal. While that doesn't necessarily mean he is removed from the team's plans, Steelers insider Mark Kaboly set the expectation for a potential deal. In short, he won't count on Davis being the late addition to the receiving core. I don't think it will be Gabe Davis, Kaboly said on Kaboly plus Mac. I just got the feeling when I was there and people were talking the other day. He just came in for a visit. A visit like a mint on your pillow. Now, ESPN has updated that info, saying that Davis might be a signing that happens according to a timetable for later in training camp, depending on how the incumbents work out at organization. According to ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, Davis is still an option for Pittsburgh. So, which is it? Our view of Davis's big playability, well established when he was a Josh Allen playoff weapon with the Buffalo Bills, but then lost last year in Jacksonville, is that it could be enticing for an offense that lacks potency outside of Metcalf. Robert Woods, Roman Wilson, Scotty Miller, and Ben Skowronek are competing for boundary roles, and Davis, at his best, would add a downfield threat to that rotation. In fairness, Davis was released just 1 season into a 3-year deal with the Jaguars as he was tagged with a failed physical designation. A torn meniscus is complicating his free agency. Maybe they were just trying to give him the once-over because of that knee, Kaboly said. I don't know how aggressive they were in trying to sign him. I think they move on from Gabe Davis. I don't think we will hear from him again. Given the need at receiver, it's no surprise Pittsburgh gave Davis a look. But if he's not fully healthy, there's little reason for the Steelers to be interested, especially as Rodgers' preferences play into their late off-season strategy. At least until later in training camp.